Basic Beginner's Guitar, Perfect Timing, A Focused Approach, Book 1, Lesson 5, Part 2. Moving on here, and from picking up on page 38, one with a little guy at the top there whining about his pinky being hard to master the use of. Don't worry, 15, 20 years you'll be able to work your pinky really well. Just kidding. Won't be that long. Okay. I think my guitar is sliding down to where it's not where I'd like it to be. Well, I'll just use my right hand up here. Okay, so the 5 new notes, we kind of already went through on the previous page. A little different format there, but we're showing them here on the neck, on the strings, and which fret and all that, and then down below where they appear on the the staff. And we have a little exercise, but I've noticed I kind of had meant to talk in either sharps or flats, one or the other. And the way I did this, I'm just going to leave it as is. Not kind of hard to change it now, but I speak of the E as an E flat and the F as an F sharp. So the E flat, keep in mind, is also a D sharp. So, and I mentioned that in the last lesson as we were going over these. The open D, here's the first string, first note on the 4th string. And then the first fret there is showing as E flat, but that's also D sharp, up a half from D, right? Here's E. So to go down a half step, the only place you can go, unless you go clear to D, is this first fret. So it has to be E flat. It also has to be D, half step up, D sharp. I think I said all that right. But anyway, moving on, the second fret, 3rd note is the 2nd fret, 2nd finger on the D note, that's E. And then we have F, the 3rd fret, 3rd finger, and F sharp was that pinky one that first pinky one that we learned, okay? And now, what I was trying to get you to do here, I have okay at the bottom, using these 5 new notes, bottom of page 38, plus one you've already learned, and that would be the open G, okay, I've noted there. Play this exercise and practice moving your meaning there, practice moving your fingers better, okay? So, starting on D, and we'll go, and so I've mixed things up. We've got flats and sharps described here, so I'm just going to do it that way. D, I say 1, 2, ready, play. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last note was a whole note, okay? So let's do them and speak through the notes here again. So we had D, E flat, E, F, F sharp, G, F sharp, F, E, E flat, E, F, F sharp, G, F sharp, F, E, E flat, D. Okay, probably go back and play through the one where I'm counting and try to play those. But I just said that to get your fingers moving and get you used to feeling all those notes on the page. On the neck. Before we move on, again, I want to introduce you to a 3rd type of accidental, okay? You'll remember back on pages 19, 20, and 21, we learned that sharps and flats together are referred to as accidentals. Since we just learned these previous notes on the previous page, you now know 1 flat and E, that E flat, and 1 sharp, the F sharp. You can tell if you go back on page 38 and play E and then E flat, that the flat lowers the tone by a half a step. And then if you, by the same token, if you play F and then play F sharp, you can hear the sharp raises, sharpening a note, flattening a note, sharpening. a note raises the tone a half step or half a pitch. Okay, so the third accidental is called the natural. It is the natural symbol. It looks like this, as you have on your page there, this little symbol here. And so you have three main accidentals you will commonly see are the sharps, raising a half a pitch, the flats, lowering a half pitch, and the naturals, returning a note within a measure to, basically it cancels a previous sharp or flat in a measure, okay? And that's what that says there. The natural symbol cancels a previously written sharp or flat in the same measure back into a natural or normal note. By normal or natural, we mean the note is neither sharp nor flat, okay? With this information about these three types of accidentals, let's look at how they're used in a line of music. So, you'll recall back on page 38, we played a short exercise using the notes D, E flat, E, F, F sharp, and G. I have a confession to make. I note here on we're on page 40, by the way, with this little exercise. The exercise mentioned was written somewhat incorrectly, and since we had not discussed the natural symbol and its function yet at that point, I could assume that a student would play the exercise as intended, which was simply for the newly learned notes to ascend and descend, meaning go up and go down and come back down. By half steps, here's the correct way of writing them here. Writing the same line using the natural symbol along with flats and sharps. Okay, so you can see what happens is you have the D, an E flat, and the next one, and again, looking back on page 38, it just has a E, but really to return to a E within the same measure from being flat, it needed to have the natural symbol next to it, okay? And then we moved on to F, F sharp, G, and back down, and so on. And so that kind of happens a couple of times. So it's going to sound the same as it did before. Here we go. I'm going to play it, okay? And you can kind of play along. Try to keep my hand up here. Probably make mistakes because I'm playing up the neck. It's a little awkward. 1, 2, ready, play. D, E flat, E, F, F sharp, G, F sharp, F, E, E flat, D, E flat, E, F, F sharp, G, F sharp, F, E, E flat, D. Okay, so you see we're going up and down, and now, written correctly, you have these naturals canceling out the previously expressed sharp or flat within a measure, okay? So, as you play the line above, observing all accidentals, that is, all sharps and flats, and now naturals as well, should sound the same as when you played it before. But now, if you went back to play the line at the bottom of page 38, knowing what you know now about accidentals, okay, and that's the key, you should notice it sounds different, okay? The notes don't go smoothly up and down because now you know that when you sharp or flat a note within a measure, it needs to have the natural symbol there to return it to that, okay? So maybe that was confusing, hopefully not too bad. And also measures 2 and 3, page 38, are incorrectly written. Can you see why? Let's see, the notes, yeah. Okay, can you see why? That's the end of page 40. And looking at my time here, so the answer is because, the reason that they're written incorrectly is because, using measure 2 as an example, the sharp sign, little tic-tac-toe sign, is applied to the first note, and F, in the measure. So the third note would be an F sharp, also be an F sharp without the sharp symbol being needed, okay? Every subsequent F sharp in the measure would be sharp until it was canceled by a natural sign. Hopefully you're getting the intent of this. The same thing applies to measure 3 with the second note of that measure, the E flat, okay? So I'm sure this topic, I noted this, maybe a little confusing as presented, but hopefully the way that I presented it will make it sink in a little better as you compare the line on page 38 to the line on page 40 and take a note of their differences. And then I had, okay, enough of that, because I'm already confusing myself a little bit. If you read back through that, hopefully it'll all kind of fall in line, make sense to you. My little funny one of the day here, musical thought of the day: did they create accidentals on purpose? Good question. Well, we may never know the answer to that. Okay, before we move on to anything, any more new concepts, I want us to sort of fill in the blanks of the notes we've learned on your instrument so far, that are either open strings or are the notes of the first 4 frets of each string. I also want to introduce you to just one 5th fret note. The 5th fret of the first, or E string, it's another higher A note. We'll look at it shortly here. So we have learned so far, let's see here, make sure I get this right. Da-da-da. Let's see. Yeah. The 5th string. Let's see. I have it. Let's see. Okay. I think I had that. Apologize for my delay here. Okay. So we have learned so far the following notes on the first, or E string: the open E, first fret F, and the 3rd fret G, right? And then on the 2nd string, open B, C, 1st fret, 1st finger, and the 3rd on the same string, 3rd fret, 3rd finger, the D note. On the 3rd string, we had learned G is open, and the 2nd fret is, with your 2nd finger, is A. All right? Okay. So, and then finally on the 4th D string, we just learned these, kind of went through like D, let's see, D open, 1st fret was D sharp. Now there I do just call it D sharp. It's also E flat, E, and F, 3rd fret. And then the 4th fret was the F sharp. That was the first one we'd done with our pinky. And trying to catch back up here, so I'm speeding along. So to bring us to notes we haven't learned on the first 4 frets of the E, B, or G, this brings us to that point, as well as the other notes of the first 4 frets of the 2 strings we haven't looked at yet are the A string, the 5th string, this one, and the low string, the biggest one, the E string, or 6th. Okay, so on the first string, first or E string, we had not learned the 2nd fret with the 2nd finger, F sharp, right? We've learned F, so half step up, F. We've learned G, but we had not learned the 4th fret, G sharp, okay? Now moving to the 2nd, we knew B and C, but the 2nd fret we didn't fool with. Half a step up from C would be what? Sharpening the note, C sharp. Then we knew D, but we didn't know the 4th fret, D sharp. Half step up from D, D sharp, right? Then on the 3rd string, we knew the G and the 2nd fret, A. I think I said that right. The 3rd string, the G string, we knew open G and A, 2nd fret. But we didn't learn yet the G sharp, which is the 1st fret, 1st finger, or the A sharp, 3rd fret, 3rd finger. And then the B, use your pinky again, on the 4th fret of that string. And it's one of the, if you go way back to the tuning page, you'll see it. It should sound like the open B string or 2nd string above it. Remember, that was a component of the tuning process there with the strings. Okay, so, and next, let's see. Well, I think I'm going to stop right there because I'm running out of time. So we'll jump to our next lesson, and we'll take a note of where we have been, and see you on the next lesson, which will be, I think, 6 point, or 6, I want to say point 1, lesson 6, part 1. Okay, alrighty, see you there.